What is up, people? It is Thursday in Germany, and I'm back on the road as always. And in this video, this might be the first of a couple of videos I'm going to do about this, because I think it's going to be a longer talk than 10 minutes. But I'm going to talk about what we on the ground level can do to fight back against the obvious insanity that's going on in most of the Western countries at the moment. I mean, you can see in America, the left, the Democrats, the Joe Biden administration are running the country into the ground. Here in Germany, the politicians are running the country into the ground. And most of Western countries, their politicians are running their countries into the ground, working explicitly against the will of the public, you know what I'm saying, which is basically their job, is to work for the public. So what can we do on a ground level? Well, first of all, the first thing that I suggest we do is everybody stop watching mainstream media to get your information. Also, don't look on social media like Facebook or fucking Twitter for news and information. Watch, my advice is watch alternative media. So right now on YouTube, it's the most effective. On YouTube, there's the most, alternative media podcasts, serious organizations that will tell you the news of the world the way it actually is. They don't leave out stories. They don't add shit to stories. They just tell you how it is. And at some point, I'll make a video listing a bunch of these podcasts and people that are trustworthy that you can listen to and kind of assume that they're telling you the truth. But we all know by now the mainstream media is lying to you about everything. At best, we saw it with Corona, with COVID. We saw they were lying about everything. Now we see it with Ukraine. We see it with the fucking vaccine shit. We see that they are basically a propaganda mouthpiece for the government. And that is in most Western countries at the moment. That's the same in the States. It's the same here in Germany. So the first step is to stop watching mainstream media. That's step number one. Then you'll get actually informed. Okay? The second step is people have to start speaking out. Whether it's online making videos like this, or whether it's, speaking out in your circle of influence, with your family, with your friends, out in public, whatever. Now, I know people don't like doing that because they don't like to go see their friends and family and have confrontations. But that's what that's how they manipulate you into shutting the fuck up. They always manipulate you into shutting up because they say, oh, well, we got to keep the peace and, we can't have an argument every time. Well, I don't think so. I think that when you're arguing or discussing things about truth and reality, and those people refuse to see truth and reality, basically, my way of dealing with that is I would just get rid of them out of my lives. I don't have any time for lying fucking people that want to stick their heads in the sands and pretend nothing is happening when it is clear as day that we're all getting steamrolled here, that we're all getting corralled into a certain tyrannical, dictatorial, totalitarian system. And if we want to stop it, we need everybody on our side to stop it. And the people that are not on their side because they don't like confrontation, because they don't like to hear the truth, because they don't want to have to, engage themselves, well, then those people are useless to the cause, in my opinion, and they basically have to be extra your life. I know that's going to be difficult. It is difficult. I also will not get rid of, I give my parents a pass. My parents are old. They're elderly. They're, they're not in a position to really change much. They're not going to go on the streets. They're enjoying their retirement. They're living their lives. And they're still on the mainstream media kick. But, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. And they're my parents, so I will give them a pass, but nobody else. You know what I'm saying? So what my neighbor thinks, what my friends think, if my so-called friends are not going to be on my team on this deal, well, then they're out. That's as simple as that. I'm not going to waste any more time, energy, effort, breath in talking to them or discussing with them if we can't agree on basic reality. And what I mean with basic reality is, for example, men cannot become women. Simple as that. Anybody in my circle of influence that tries to keep the point, tried to make the point to me that men are women if they say they're women, I am done with those people. That's it. There's no point in discussing with them. They're so far lost in the ideology that they can't even see reality anymore, and I have no time to try to reprogram them. I am sorry. I'm done. So stop wasting time trying to reprogram people that are just not good. You're not going to get to them. There's just a group of people you're not going to get to. Stop wasting time on those people and speak out against them at every chance you get. In public, in your private settings, online, on Twitter, everywhere. And the more people that start doing that, the more you'll see that we're in the majority on all this shit. You know what I'm saying? We're not the minority of people. It's not like most people want what's going on. Just most people are too coward to do anything about it. And once we break that fear, and say, look, I don't care anymore what the fucking neighbor calls me or what some person I don't know at the shopping center calls me or thinks of me, then we're freer than we ever have been. There's nothing more freeing than not giving a fuck. Really, I'm telling you, trust me, not giving a fuck makes you free. So that's another thing you got to do. Not give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Call out truth when you see it. Call out liars when you see them. Just that simple. Open your mouth. That is the biggest part, people. We have to band together by all of us opening our mouths and letting our voices be heard. That is a big part of it. The next thing you can do is get involved in your local community politics. For example, in Germany, we have Gemeinderat. So if you have, if you are in a certain community and they have the Gemeinderat, show up there. Before I started driving a truck in Germany, I ran a little apartment hotel complex. Nothing fancy. It was nice. It was great, and it was in a very small place in Germany. And they had a Gemeinderat, and I showed up there. And I went to listen to what these people are talking about, deciding. And this town was so small that they were basically used to just gathering every month. All of them usually agreed on everything. There was no discussion, no nothing, and they were used to just pushing things through all together. It was basically just walking in and going, okay, we're going to do this. Everybody's cool with it. Let's go. It's so small. They weren't getting any pushback. And then in comes me to sit in on these things and ask them questions, push back on stuff, ask what they mean by this, why they're going to do that. They fucking hated it. They hated it. I wasn't an asshole. You know what I'm saying? But they just hated the fact that someone from outside the community, who is, by the way, was building a business in that community, has come in to hold them to account, to make them explain themselves. They hated it. So that's the way to go, people, is you have to be a thorn in these fucking politicians' side. You have to be there needling them at every chance you get. You know what I'm saying? Needle them at every chance you get. So join your local communities, get in your Gemeinderat, start asking questions, make these people feel uncomfortable. That is the way to go. And listen, start learning your rights. Go research what your rights are. And push your rights to the absolute limit. You know what I'm saying? Push them to the limit. I don't want to, engage people in violence or any shit like that. We want to avoid that at all costs, But if we don't start speaking up now, if we don't start pushing our rights to the limit, if we don't start calling out liars, calling out cheaters, corrupt politicians, then we are going to end up in a position where physical violence is the only way we're going to be able to protect ourselves or to get out of this. And I think we all want to avoid that. I have no doubt we all want to avoid that. So if we want to avoid it, this is the way to go. And I'm going to make another video on this probably in the near future, but that's how we can start. Start pushing back every way you can. For example, if you've got a business in Germany and your business serves politicians, these politicians are working against you, stop serving them. You have Hausrecht, you have the right to not serve them, so throw them out of your businesses, throw them out of your little shops, let them be known they are not welcome, they're working against you, and you start working against them. So some people have a little more power than others, but it all starts with all of us opening our mouths, speaking out whenever we can. How obnoxious it may ever seem, doesn't matter. Just do that. That's where you can start.